Audrey, and Austin is absent. And we have a public service announcement about water quality in Fulton County. Yeah. Before we talk about major water pollutants, it's important to discuss point versus non-point source pollution. Point source pollution is a form of pollution that can be traced back directly to its source, and it's easier to limit because we know where it is. Examples are a pipe coming out from a factory. Non-point sources are a form of pollution that comes from multiple places and cannot be traced back to a single source, and that makes non-point source pollution really hard to stop. Examples are farmland runoff, animal feedlots, fertilizer and pesticide runoff, and oil from roads. The three major types of water pollutants are nutrient pollution, chemical pollutants, and sewage water. Nutrient pollution is wastewater, fertilizers, and sewage that contain high levels of nutrients. They end up in water bodies. They encourage algae and weed growth in the water, and that makes the water undrinkable and even clogs filters. Too much algae will also use up all the oxygen in the water, and other water organisms in the water will die out of oxygen starvation. Chemical pollutants are industrial and agricultural work that involves the use of many different chemicals that run off into the water and pollute it. Metals and solvents from industrial work can pollute rivers and lakes. These are poisonous to many forms of aquatic life and may slow their development. Pesticides are used in farming to control weeds, insects, and fungi. Runoffs of these pesticides can cause water pollution and poison aquatic life. Petroleum is another form of chemical pollutant that usually contaminates water through oil spills when a ship ruptures. Oil spills usually have only a localized effect on wildlife but can spread for miles. And sewage water can come from non-point and point places. Some non-point places can be from farms and roads, and point places can be from a pipe that goes into a pond. Pipes can put sewage water into the water and kill many fish and living aquatic insects and animals, and further contaminate drinking water. There are multiple ways in which these pollutants impact the ecosystem. For one, inorganic and algal nutrients and phosphates lead to too much nitrogen and phosphorus in the water and cause algae to grow faster than ecosystems can handle. Disease-causing pollutants like sewage and bacteria can contaminate water from sewer overflows and wastewater releases. The presence of contaminants in water can lead to adverse health effects, including gastrointestinal illnesses. And these can also be found in groundwater. And inorganic compounds are probably some of the most detrimental. Lead, for example, can enter drinking water when service pipes corrode. And even though the EPA has set the contaminant level goal for lead in drinking water at 0, it's still toxic and persistent and can be found. Pesticides can reach water-bearing aquifers below ground from applications onto crop fields, and they can lead to a lot of contamination. And spilled oil can harm living things because its chemical constituents are poisonous, and this can affect organisms both from internal exposure to oil through ingestion or inhalation, and from external exposure through skin and eye irritation. So there are many ways in which scientists can test the different levels of these pollutants. For algal nutrients, phosphate and nitrate levels are tested, and they have a chart. Same with phosphate. Sewage, they do a bacteria test, and that's just a more sterilized version, but pretty much the same thing. And then an example of what they would do for an inorganic compound type test, they would do a lead test to see if there was lead in the water. And that is about that. So as far as ways to reduce these pollutants, nutrient pollutants can use no phosphorus fertilizer on lawns and gardens, keep grass clippings in the lawn, leave a wide strip of deep-rooted plants along shoreland, and much more. Sewage can maintain sewer lines and wastewater treatment facilities to prevent unintended or untreated discharges to waterways and keep hazardous chemicals out of sewer lines. And if you have a septic tank, you can get a professional to pump out that tank every 3 or 5 years and check the system when it begins to back up. Inorganic pollutants, you can make sure oil spill contingency plans are up to date and efficient, use products with no lead in them, test your water supply, and reduce use of pesticides and ban chemicals that are harmful to the environment that are in pesticides. There are 2 laws that govern water quality. The first one is the Clean Water Act, which is probably the main one that basically makes sure that there aren't certain pollutants getting inside the water. And then the other one is the Safe Drinking Water Act, which is a federal law that protects public drinking water and that supplies throughout the nation. And the EPA sets standards for drinking water quality, and with its partners implements various technical and financial programs to ensure drinking water safety. So all in all, the Clean Water Act kind of just coincides with the Safe Drinking Water Act, but both are laws that govern water quality. Thanks for watching, and act now.